Hi, it's Chris again. So, one of the things I've seen people have difficulty with is how to deal with a Monty Hall game. So, you screwed up and you gave them too much loot. And now they are going through the countryside and they are destroying everything. Okay, well, first thing is that you can't obviously just take everything back. You know, you can talk to them within reason, but the best way is you're gonna have to slowly whittle some of it away, though. And then allow them to level up past it, and so that the stuff that they have becomes kind of obsolete. And I always say this beforehand is that your rewards don't always have to be, you know, a +5 blade of Vorpal. I mean, learning another language is pretty cool. I mean, but one of the things I wanted to go to is unconventional monsters, and this is what I use in my horror side. But I wanted to show some of the abilities that they do, so you can give an idea of what you can do to somebody, and it doesn't matter if they're level 20 wielding a +5 Vorpal. They're screwed. So, first off, is like a cloud of spores. Like I have a creature that fires like a cloud of spores, and what happens is that the spores cause them to begin to suffocate. They can't do anything other than leave that adjacent area because their lungs are being racked in pain from the spores eating away at their lungs. And they have to also make a disease check for the necrotic rot. So in this, like, okay, I'm this awesome warrior, wizard, cleric, insert class here. I get hit in this area because it's an area effect. It doesn't matter if you move or not. It fires into the square that you're standing. Okay? So if you're standing in that square, you get hit. You know, not directly, but the ground you're getting hit at. So there's no save. So your +10 elven armor, you know, made by an elf and a dwarf at the same time and everything isn't going to do anything for you. Okay, and you begin to suffocate, and you can't do anything except for move out of that area. And then you suffer for like another round or so. You know, while you slowly gain back your ability to do stuff. You effectively have a character that cannot do anything. Now, like say if you have players that have wish spells, you know, get them to use them. Oh look, you have a disease. It is incurable unless you have a genie or some crazy shit that they aren't going to be able to pull out of their back pocket. You have 1d10 days +1 or something to find a cure for this. Every priest you go to says, sorry, you're sucking. So all of a sudden they're using a wish to conjure a genie or a wish to get rid of the spell. And if you really want to take it to the next level, make them have to use the wish to conjure the genie to get rid of the thing. So then they have to conjure the genie. Then the genie says, I'm not going to do this for free. You're going to have to give me something in return. Then they have to give up some of their magical items to pay for it. So not only did they lose a wish, but they lost some of their magical items to pay for it. There's all different ways that you can do stuff like this and just make their lives a living hell. And there's you know, your mind's the limit of your imagination. You know, on how you can slowly fix your game and put things into proportion. You know, but I intentionally create monsters that level to the point that they're gonna mess you up no matter what. A lot of my things behind my monsters is that you can reflex save for half, or it hits the area that you're standing in, so you get hit regardless. Um, or it you know, basically it automatically hits, and it automatically does this, and it always has a side effect, and the side effect always limits your capabilities. You know, so you think in terms of that. You know, it's something that does in an area. It's something that, or it's something that requires that's going to limit their capabilities, or something that requires them to do something ostentatious to get rid of it. You know what I mean? Like swarms of stuff. Okay, you got to do all this crazy stuff to get rid of a bunch of them. You know, or you're going to have to cast a fireball on you because, oh look, it's on you. You know what I mean? So someone says, okay, well, we can cast a fireball and that will kill it and everything, but we're also going to have to hit Mike, who's standing in the center of it. You know, so I mean, these are also good ideas on how to create monsters that can mess your day up and everything without having to do massive amounts of damage. You know, they just create they create an element that sits outside, kind of skirts the rules, and causes the monster to actually do something that conventional armor is not going to stop, and you know, you can't sword fight your way through. So that's what I do. And you come up with all different kinds of little crazy ways and everything that you can take away the magical items. Now, one of the ways that I do is a trade sale. So, say everybody has like this motivation, you know what I mean, in their character because they have this visualization, and maybe a paladin wants a holy avenger. Maybe he doesn't have one. Maybe he's willing to trade that holy avenger for these 6 magical items over here. You know what I mean? You just limit it. Stuff that has uses. Make shit that just makes them use it. You know, like wishes, and deck of many things. Thieves. You know, come out, steal a few things or whatever. You know, and have them chasing them down. You know, but you definitely don't want to do it all at once. You want to do like maybe a couple things here, a couple things there, or whatnot, and you definitely want to hit them with mobs that you want to create nemesis, and you want to hit them with mobs that they can't fight conventionally, and you kind of should be doing that already. I mean, you gotta come and you gotta think outside the box. Think of what can you hit them with, and not only that. And this is really a big one. Is and I learned this from Dragon Mountain. And if you haven't played Dragon Mountain, it was second edition D&D, Advanced D&D second edition, and Dragon Mountain was, I think, it was a campaign, a box set, and I think that truthfully behind it is it's a GM tool. It's a Dungeon Master tool, because what it does is like the first half of it is like you're fighting these kobolds, and the kobolds are basically they're wrecking your life. And what the person that wrote it, whoever it was that wrote it, decided to make how can we make the weakest character, and at the time it was kobold, and make that kobolds mess these characters up. And I think that there was a massive learning lesson in that, because you can take normal monsters and you can destroy somebody's world. I mean, I don't care what you give them. You know, you can give a bunch of player characters a bunch of stuff, and oh look, you have a +10 armor, but you're standing inside of a room that's filling up with oil. Oh look, someone lit a match. You know, oh look, a freaking kobold comes running in the room and everything with 60 pounds of explosive and blows himself up. You know, there's so many different ways that you can wreck someone's life without even, you know, even though they have like, okay, well, you know, it hits this radius, and you make up the rules for the destruction and mayhem that it causes. Never make it, never, ever make it dependent on, never make it dependent on the AC, because that's the big no-no. That's gonna right there, no, because if you have a Monty Hall game, you probably have characters with ridiculous ACs, and they're gonna be hard to hit. So don't make it dependent on their AC. If you I would do a lot of area effects, a lot of traps that can't be seen by a rogue, you know, stuff like that. You know, like a monster running in with explosives tied to him, you know, or you know, a hole in the roof where a giant freaking keg of freaking oil splashes down to the bottom, and there's torches lit everywhere, and it ignites. You know, stuff like that. And like, oh look, you're impervious to fire and everything. This is magical cold flame. You know, or you know, there's so many different ways that you can do it. That you can just wreck people's lives and in the game and everything, so that you can always maintain that challenge even in a Monty Hall game. Because what I'm trying to get at is, say you made a Monty Hall game and you don't want to take the stuff from them. You know, you're a generous GM. You like to give them stuff. Be a smarter GM. Let them keep the stuff and learn how to create monsters that are smart and that are capable of going past the fact that they have all that stuff and still be able to give them a nightmare of a day. That's what I'm saying. Now, you can take the stuff from them, you can gear it towards, you can stop giving them new cool stuff and everything, and start giving them more inventive stuff. You know, like plus, you get a +1 to wisdom, you know, because you read this book, you know what I mean? Or you get a plus to your will, or you get a plus to charisma, or, you know, or you gain this skill, you learn how to cook. You know, there's plenty of skills that if you look in the old 2nd edition, and this is looking, say 2nd edition or 3rd edition, there is a buttload of skills that don't even exist anymore. They don't. Who's to say you can't give them that skill? You find a skill book on frickin' heraldry. I want to say that doesn't exist anymore. I'm trying to think of one. Tightrope walking. You gain like the rogue gains a skill at tightrope walking. You know, how to tightrope walk. You know, that doesn't exist anymore. Give them a skill on something that doesn't even exist anymore. And you'll find them now, he's using tightrope walking because he knows how to do it. You know, you just, you know, but it's got to be something that they can have, and try to make it flavorful, because then it will add to the dimension of the game. You know, so like, you know, I gave away like a cookbook and teach, you know, how to speak different languages. Trying to think of, I'm having a brain fart here, but I've done so many like little weird things like that. Teach people like interesting little skills and everything, like, you know, hunting and gathering. You know, you never want to overshadow, give someone a skill that overshadows. And when you give them a skill that's highly specific. So if like one time I did where the guy helped him dry out the meat, so I specifically gave him the skill of drying out meat, you know, so he knew how to dry out meat, and he wrote that down in his character. And the more little stuff like that people can fill in and everything, they love and everything, you know. Or give them like, make up like one time I made up these berries and everything, night berries, and the night berries and everything, they grow in the dark and everything, and they give you you can make potions out of them, with clusters of 8, and it's basically the equivalency of like a cure light wound potion and everything. But it requires a buttload of work to be able to get this stuff effective, and it's completely contingent on absolute darkness. So if you ever said, "Oh man, this guy's crop is way too big," and the ceiling just fell through and light came in and killed like 90% of your crop, I'm so sorry, dude. It's just it's stuff like that. One of the things I do, and this is different from a lot of people's games, and I kind of lean towards Terry Brooks on this, is that I do I run a post-apocalyptic high fantasy game. So a lot of times they'll encounter a place that's like an old mall, or like a tunnel underground, and they may find a fire axe. And like one time they found a security guard armor, and the armor was it was better than the current armor they were using, and it allowed them to not have disadvantage at the rating that they had with their armor and everything, and it had like these strange runes written across it and it spelled out security on it. You know what I mean? Or police or something like that. There's so many different ways that you can you can give little things and everything that are fun in the game, and like a Zippo lighter. One time I gave a Zippo lighter, and I mean, you got to think prestidigitation or whatever. You can cause a fire. It's a 0 level spell. You know what I mean? You just gave them the power of the Zippo and everything, and oh my God, it runs out at the exact time that you wanted to run out. It's stuff like that. That you can give, or that they can sell it, or little pocket watch, or there's all different types of things that you can give them that is just cool, and you don't have to give them any more high speed stuff, but you can continue to give them high speed stuff. You can continue to have a Monty Hall game. You can do all that stuff and everything. It just requires that you have to think outside the box when you're dealing with your nemesis. They've got to be smart. They've got to be, ferocious, and they have to be tactical. You have to be tactical with them if you want to be able to present a challenge to them. And like I said, think when you come up with an enemy, and you're gonna have to write these, because the player's handbook is just not, I mean, the monstrous manual and bestiary, it just doesn't have quite the nemesis. I mean, you can use them, but you would have to use them tactically minded. But you can easily make nemesis that are that they attack you at an angle, as far as the rules are concerned, that pretty much defeat your natural defenses. So when you say, hey, there's no reflex save because you're in a square room, hey, there's no fortitude save because it's fire, hey, there's no armor save because you're drenched in fire. I mean, when you say stuff like that, it's, you just put them in a situation that they can't, and you can't outright kill them. And I hope I'm not coming off as saying that, but it's a way to put the fear of, yeah, this can happen. You still want to be able to keep them challenged, all the way. You know what I mean? And a lot of times, if you can, try to throw in stuff that they could have seen it coming. You know what I mean? Like, you want to, give them some type of forewarning, but you want to outsmart them about it. So they may have seen this kobold over there in the corner and everything before he run up on the top and then jumped over the edge with explosives and frickin' flew through the air and blew himself up and everything. They may have saw that and everything coming ahead of time, but they just didn't know to frickin' blow him up before he got to them. Something to that, that end. You just have to be smarter. And then plus, you know, I've seen monsters like Tim Shorts created a monster. I don't know if he created it or he found it, but the monster reversed the damage. Everything you did to him, instead you actually did to yourself. You know what I mean? There ain't nothing that'll mess up a party like that. That's a buttload of confusion right there. But like, how do I kill something that every time I swing my sword at it, it hits me instead? You know what I mean? You know, I mean that's just painful right there. You know, you don't know how to kill something like that. Um, but there's a lot of different ways that you can do it. You know, you just have to you have to outsmart them at that point. And I don't think there was somebody that said that, you know, he did this whole thing where he had them, you know, put them on this quest that ended up killing them in the end. And I don't think that's necessary. I mean, you gave them the stuff, you know, either figure out a way to slowly take it away from them by intelligently taking them away from them, or having them traded in for a better item, you know, something but it's got to be something. You got to win on the trade. You know what I mean? It can't you can't lose on the trade. You got to win on the trade. So, you know, it's got to be something that they really want. Like, you know, we'll go back to my wife again. My wife would probably give up anything for a really cool magical dog. You know what I mean? If you see a character like that. Now, min-maxing characters probably won't fall for that. You know what I mean? They're not going to fall for that. But you know, who's to say that say I got a level 10 rogue and you have something that you can give them the ability to turn their D6s into D8s. You know what I mean? But it's going to require like 100,000 gold worth of magical items. You know what I'm saying? To be able to buy that book. You know, which obviously the person isn't carrying on them, so they can't just slay them and take it. You know what I mean? But they can say it's the tomb of blah 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 sneak and shadow. You know, you could always do something like that. And if it's a permanent ability that's gained to a player will probably go with it. You know, they're like, wait a minute, I could turn my sneak attacks into D8s. And in the long run, it's probably better for you. I mean, if you get a hold of your body holism and get some control over it and, you know, limit how much shit you're giving out. But I don't really have a problem with giving players stuff. I like to start them off with virtually nothing and then have them work their way up. But I usually like to have them do the whole trade-in for money and then, you know, hopefully be able to buy some stuff that they need. But yeah, you can run games that are still Monty Hall. I mean, you can outsmart your players, and you can. There's a book by, oh my God, I seen a book, and it's called Traps and like Trickery or something like that. It's like this thick. I mean, it's like it's oh my God, man. I seen a guy, he came and he purchased that and he said, yeah, I'm about to start running a game. I'm like, I'm not playing in it. I'm right now, dude. I'm not playing in that. No way, man. But yeah, you can go purchase it. I don't, man, I don't know who it was, but I mean, that thing's the size of a phone book, and it's nothing but traps and different ways to wreck someone's life. And you're gonna tell me, like, a trap that requires thought? I don't care what pluses you have to your armor and weapons and everything. I mean, if you can't outthink the trap, you're done. You know what I mean? And then if it's a room that's filling up with water and you have to swim through a hole and you can't swim with all that gear on and the water is acidic and it's slowly eating through your clothes and stuff like that, and you know that when you get back and everything, there won't be anything there because the acid will have eaten through your magical items. Oh, I'm sorry, my bad. You know, I mean, there's so many different ways that you can do this. I mean, if you want to take it from them, take it from them. If you got to dial it back, you know. But you just got to be smarter than the player. You have to actually sit down and do your homework on your game session. And, you know, you should already be making your game session cater to your players anyways. You know, if you're not taking into consideration what your players are going to do from the get-go, they're going to wreck your world because that's what players do. But I hope this is informative. I hope it's helpful. If you have any questions, just leave them down there, and I'll try and get to them and answer them. Peace.